in the school. We've had Next Chapter, UTC. Both bands actually went home, sadly. I'm only joking, they're here. We are Christians and we love Jesus, and Jesus has really changed our lives. And I hope that you've heard a little bit of that in our message today. Tonight we're going to have music, but also we've asked guys to share some of their individual stories, and I hope that will really encourage you to ask questions and maybe start your own adventure tonight. Anyway, enough from me. Just to say, please be safe. We have got Crushberry here. I know you guys know how to party and go absolutely crazy. Please be considerate of each other. We don't want any accidents. But if you do need it, we do have first aid in the house. If you look to your left, they're waving there. Gary and the team are over there to look after you. There is water at the back that is free. That is for drinking, not for throwing. Okay, what's it for? Not for throwing. And this is your school, you know where the toilets are, but there are plenty of teachers and stewards around to keep you safe. Are you ready to start? Yeah!
if you want to have a party here tonight, I need to hear you. Make a little bit of noise, come on. Is that what you've got? I said make some noise! Alright, we're going to join it. you guys a little bit of a story about my life when I was in high school. Are you ready for it? Yeah! Alright, so this whole week has been about influence, right? I want to talk to you guys about what influenced me when I was your age. So, I walked into school, and I didn't have many friends in high school. I know, it's sad. But I started to look at the popular kids and was like, so what do they have? I don't know. How can I get some more friends? So I was like, okay, let me look at them, let me analyze what I'm doing here. I started looking at their shoes, their trousers, their t-shirts, and obviously we're all in uniform, right? So how were they any different? But what I didn't see was their shoes were not regular school shoes. They weren't like my Velcro shoes from primary school. You know what they were? They were fully blacked out Air Force Ones. So they were looking very nice, very nice. And I realized as well that their trousers were a little bit of a better fit, you know? Kind of highlighting the legs, looking kind of nice. Whereas mine were like tree trunks, so they're like cylinder blocks. So I was like, okay. So clearly, that's got something to do with it. So I went home that evening, I was like, Mum, we need to go to the shops. We need to get some new shoes, we need to get some new trousers, and I'm gonna get all my friends, and it's all gonna be alright. So we did that. I went and got new shoes, new black trousers that were looking better, and I walked into school the next day. Woo! I was like, oh yes, look at me in my new shoes, guys. Come on, I'm looking sick, right? And the trousers too, I'm gonna get all the friends now. And I thought, from that influence, they influenced me to go and buy and change a little bit about myself in hopes to be more popular or to gain some friends, right? But you know what's really funny? What? Guess what happened in my third lesson of that day? What? So I'm gonna be honest, these trousers were maybe a little bit too tight. And back then, my mum still bought me my underwear. And at that day, specifically, I was wearing bright pink boxers. I was in school with these tight trousers on, thinking, yes, I'm looking fresh. And I ripped my pants in my third grade. I see my pink underwear, and it was very, very embarrassing. And I was influenced in that moment. When I saw the popular lot, I was influenced to change a little bit about myself in hopes to be accepted by other people. But you know what? We've always talked in these lessons for the past week about how Jesus has influenced our lives. And you know what? There's a Bible verse in Romans, we've been in Romans a lot during the week, but Romans 12:2 that says, do not conform to the pattern of this world. And that's a little bit of a confusing sentence, so I wanted to break it down to make it easy for you guys. All it means is you don't have to change yourself to fit in with the world. Because we believe as Christians that we're not meant to fit in. We're not meant to be a carbon copy of every single other person in the world. Because wouldn't the world be a boring place if it was all just a bunch of memes? I'd get very bored. I'm tired of myself all the time. I want to see carbon copies of me everywhere I go. I want to meet new people and experience new things. So I was influenced by Jesus that day when I read that Bible verse. You know what? I don't have to change anything about myself to be more accepted by other people. But in fact, God made me different, and that's what's special about my life. So I want to encourage you guys today that whenever you're in school or you're out and about, don't worry about trying to fit in everywhere you go. Because you are made to stand out. Every single one of you in here are different and unique for a purpose. Because it'd be very boring if we were all just the same person, wouldn't it? Yeah? Would we be bored if everyone was the same person? Hands up if we would be bored. Yeah. 100%. But, thankfully, Jesus never let me go during that time. He really stuck around and helped guide me in his influence. So this next song is called Let Me Go, and it's all about how Jesus never let me go during everything that I faced growing up. So are we ready for some more music? Let's get the tunes going. very important award. Do you think it's time to bring out? I don't know. Do you think I think it's more than time to bring out OTC! Yes, no turning back. No turning back. Listen, I'm going happy. No turning back. No turning back. Let me hear you say your best. To follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back. My passion. No turning back. Follow away. You guys are vibing really hard. Listen, I've got a very, very exclusive song coming out very, very soon. Do you guys want to hear it? Yeah! You guys want to hear it? You guys want to hear it? Yeah! It's dropping very, very soon. Can anyone guess how long before it drops?
4 months.
4 months? Nah, weeks and weeks and weeks. It's going to be dropping in less than 6, 7. So let's go.
evangelist called My Papa, which is about my Heavenly Father. You see, before I became a Christian about 13 years ago, I had a dad in my life who was not the best influence in my life. But now I have a Heavenly Father who actually influenced me to love people better, to actually forgive people as well. But before that, I want to take you back to when I was really, really young, when I was about 6, 7 years old. When I was 10 years old, living with my dad. Because before I actually met my dad, I used to bubble my mom. I used to ask her every single day because I was raised by a single mom. I used to answer every morning like, where's my dad? Because I used to see my friends playing football with their dads, and I never had my dad in the house. So I started bothering my dad. I said, I want to get to know my dad. So eventually she took me to the city. I ended up meeting my dad. My dad was in the hood. He was a bad boy. He was actually living a bad life, making bad choices.
Is that why you mean?
So I started living with my dad when I was 10 years old. And guess what my dad started making me do? He started making me sell drugs. Because that's what he did. So I was influenced by him. As time went on, I started living alone, moved away. I started making bad choices. Because I learned all the bad influence from my dad. I started making bad choices, influencing my friends to make bad choices too. So I was about 12 years old, I got stabbed in a park. Because this guy there, hope the light can show. So when I was about 12 years old, I started making bad choices because I became a victim of my crime. One day I was in the park playing football with my friends. My friend Mr. Wall kicked a stone, he was bleeding, he was in pain. Now instead of me choosing to be kind to my friend, I wasn't. I was laughing at him, provoking, taking a big out of him. He felt angry and embarrassed. He made a bad choice. He went home, came back to the park with a knife, saw me playing football, tried to stab me in my face, tried to grab the knife, then I went inside my palm. That same day at the age of 12 when I went home, can anyone guess what I started doing?
You brought a knife.
I started walking around with a knife, thinking I could protect myself. I kept making bad choices from my teenage years because of the people I was influenced by, because of the music I was influenced by, because of the lifestyle I was influenced by. I kept making bad choices. To cut a long story short, 16 years old, I kept making bad choices to a point. A friend of mine stole from me. In that moment, I made a bad choice. I went into the kitchen and I took a knife and I went to his house. When I left my house with that knife, I had every intention to hurt my best friend because I was a dangerous friend. I didn't value myself. I didn't value my friend. I valued my belongings more than my friends. So as I was banging on the door waiting for my friend to open up so I could hear him, I had this thought running through my head. One of those thoughts actually encouraged me to stab my best friend, to prove to everyone that I'm bad and tough. But the other thoughts actually challenging me, saying, James, the choice that you're about to make is going to change your life forever. And I stopped and I asked myself this question. Does it really worth me hurting my friend, spending 10, 15 years in prison over a £10 baseball cap? Do you think it's worth it?
No.
Go ahead, you think it's worth it? So for me, I believe that thought that was telling me to walk away, that was the voice of God. And I listened, and I walked away. Long story short, I gave my life to Jesus. I became a Christian. It's the best choice. So this song that I want to perform is called No More Knife. It's encouraging young people to lay down the knife and pick up life, which is Jesus, faith in Jesus. So every hands up. The lyric is very easy. You make it very
Nice.
It's called Power Roll. It's talking about how I was influenced back in the days making bad choices, rolling with the wrong people, rolling with the wrong crowd, rolling with the wrong friends. But now I'm rolling with the King of Kings, Jesus, so I'm making better choices. So this song, if you feel like you're rolling with Jesus, I want to hear you sing as loud as you can when the song drop, okay? So to help us out, let me hear you sing, hey na na, hey na na, hey.
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 You guys are ready? Let's go.
Hey na na, hey. Hey na na, hey na na, hey.
Searching for the truth, I found the answer. Cause it's all shit from the party. Carrying the fire like lantern. Loving the energy. But let's see if we can get even louder. But that was great. That was great, but I feel like we can be even louder. So this next song is called I Win. So if you can hear me, you say I win.
Louder than that. Come
One
on.
time, you say I win. The reason why this song is important to me, like I shared when I was making bad choices, walking around with knife thinking I can protect myself, I was actually fighting a losing battle. I was battling with anger issues. I was struggling with depression, I was struggling with rejection, not having a father figure in my life. That made me an angry person, made me a negative person, which made me make a lot of bad choices. Which actually left me getting arrested, put me in a cell, making bad choices, left me feeling like a loser. I hated the person I became. When I started walking with Jesus, putting my faith in Jesus, it restored me, made me a new man. And there's the Bible verse in 2 Corinthians that says, if anyone is in Christ, it's a new creation. Simply meaning, put your faith in Christ, it will make you a new person. And that's the personal choice that I made. The rest of the guys in this team made. And now, when I face some battle, I know as long as I have God on my side, I will win. So when I say guess what, let me say I win. Guess what? I hear you. Guess what? One more time, say it, hands up. And I want to hear you sing all the bounce. Okay, you ready? Bounce. Bounce. Jesus, Jesus. Jesus. go over one more song that I want to do that I will need you to in a second.